Welcome, everyone, to a special journey through American history. Today, we're diving deep into the pivotal moments that shape the United States. It's going to be a fascinating timeline, helping us really grasp how this nation was forged and continually transformed. You ready for this?
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to walk through time with you. It's truly incredible to see the threads that connect the past to our present. And where better to start than at the very beginning, with the birth of a nation?
Couldn't agree more. So let's rewind to the 1770s. We're talking about the 13 colonies, still very much under British rule. What really set the stage for all the dramatic change that was about to unfold? What lit that initial fuse?
Well, you've got to look at the aftermath of the French and Indian War in 1763. Britain was left with enormous debt, and their solution was to turn to the colonies for revenue. They started imposing new taxes. First, the Sugar Act in 1764, then the Stamp Act, hitting everything from legal documents to newspapers. Can you imagine the frustration?
I can only imagine. I mean, it must have felt incredibly unfair. No say in the matter, just these new financial burdens. Is that where the famous phrase, no taxation without representation, really gained traction?
Precisely. That phrase became the rallying cry. Leaders like Samuel Adams really championed that idea, articulating the profound anger of the colonists. Tensions just kept rising until fighting erupted at Lexington and Concord between British soldiers and colonial militias. And just like that, the American Revolution had officially begun. Britain, of course, tried to crush the rebellion, but the spirit of independence had taken hold.
Wow, what a pivotal start. Now fast forward, after establishing itself, the United States then began this massive undertaking of expanding westward in the early 19th century. This sounds like a transformative period, doesn't it? What was the catalyst there?
Oh, absolutely transformative. The biggest catalyst was undoubtedly the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. President Thomas Jefferson acquired this immense territory from France, practically doubling the size of the fledgling nation overnight. It was huge. Soon after, the Lewis and Clark expedition explored these new lands, sparking even more interest in moving west, settling new frontiers.
So this really fueled the idea of manifest destiny then, that belief that America was destined to stretch from coast to coast. It sounds romantic, but I imagine it wasn't without its challenges, especially for the people already living there.
Exactly. Manifest destiny was this powerful, almost spiritual belief that drove so many people. Families made incredible journeys along routes like the Oregon Trail, seeking new lives. And yes, while it brought immense economic and territorial growth for the United States, we can't ignore the immense human cost. It led to severe conflicts, particularly with Native American tribes, who were tragically forced from their ancestral lands. By the late 19th century, this era of continental expansion officially closed, marking the end of the frontier.
That's a really important point to remember. Now, pivoting to perhaps one of the most painful chapters in American history, the mid-19th century and the Civil War, what was truly at the heart of this incredibly divisive conflict?
The core issue, unequivocally, was slavery, and specifically its expansion into new territories. After Abraham Lincoln was elected in 1860, many southern states whose economies were deeply intertwined with enslaved labor feared losing their way of life. They decided to secede from the Union. The war officially erupted in 1861 with the attack on Fort Sumter.
And after years of horrific fighting and immense sacrifice, the North emerged victorious, ultimately preserving the Union. How did that outcome fundamentally change the nation?
It changed everything. Slavery was abolished with the 13th Amendment, a monumental shift. The federal government's authority was solidified. But the South was absolutely devastated. This led to the Reconstruction era, which was an incredibly difficult time focused on trying to integrate millions of formerly enslaved people into American society and rebuild the war-torn South. It was a period filled with both hope and tremendous challenges.
It sounds like a period of immense upheaval and attempts at healing. Moving into the late 19th and early 20th centuries, we then see the rise of the Progressive Era. What were the key problems people were trying to address during this time of reform?
The Progressive Era was a direct response to the dark side of rapid industrialization. Massive wealth gaps, rampant political corruption, terrible urban poverty, and horrific labor exploitation. Journalists, often called muckrakers, bravely exposed these abuses. Activists and political leaders pushed hard for major reforms. They truly wanted to make society fairer and safer.
So what kind of tangible changes came out of all that effort? What were some of the biggest successes of the Progressive Era?
Oh, significant changes. Laws were passed to break up powerful monopolies, improve working conditions, ensure food and medicine were safe, and critically, women's rights expanded significantly, culminating in the right to vote. While the movement did lose some steam when the country entered World War I, its impact on American democracy and daily life was truly lasting and profound.
Speaking of World War I, let's talk about the 1910s, when the world was plunged into this massive global conflict. How did the United States, which had largely tried to stay out of European affairs, get pulled into this enormous war?
Well, the conflict truly exploded in 1914 after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, quickly engulfing Europe. The U.S. initially remained neutral, but two main factors drew America in by 1917: Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare, sinking American ships, and the infamous Zimmermann telegram, revealing Germany's plan to incite Mexico against the U.S. It just became unavoidable.
And that war had a massive global and national impact, didn't it? Millions of lives lost, including many Americans. What was the aftermath for the U.S.?
Devastating. Millions perished worldwide, and over 100,000 American soldiers lost their lives. The war ended in 1918 with the Allied victory and the Treaty of Versailles, which dramatically reshaped the global political landscape. For the U.S., emerging from the war led right into the fascinating 1920s, a decade famously known for its cultural explosion, with jazz music, new fashions, and a noticeable increase in women's participation in society. It was a real whirlwind of change.
What an incredible journey we've taken through these defining moments, from the fight for independence to westward expansion, internal strife, social reform, and global conflict. It really shows how complex and dynamic the story of the United States is. Thank you for sharing such rich insights today.
My pleasure. These events truly underscore how the United States has been continuously shaped by conflict, by crucial decisions, and by powerful social movements. They aren't just dates in a textbook. They're living parts of our collective memory that continue to influence the nation we are today. It's a story that's still unfolding.